afternoon, everyone. Today, I wanted to speak to the top 10 reasons why I see individuals fail on a whole food plant-based diet or just a plant-based diet in general. And the reason I wanted to speak to this, I had just interviewed Robbie Barbero from Mastering Diabetes for my Reverse Hypertension Naturally Summit. And the last part of our conversation were some of the big problems that we see people run into when transitioning to a plant-based diet. And maybe why a lot of people end up quitting because they're not quite fully aware of how to move forward with a plant-based diet. So these are the reasons that I've seen over the years. And for those of you who are new to the channel or don't know me, by the way, please feel free to subscribe if you would like to continue these type of videos. But I'm Dr. Lori Marbus. I am licensed in all 50 states, including DC. I'm a family medicine and lifestyle medicine board certified physician. I've been a doctor for well over 2 decades. And I've been plant-based myself for over 12 years and I've seen thousands of patients. I've seen patients in every single state of this country. So I'm speaking from experience when I'm speaking to this. I've seen labs, I've talked to patients, I've talked about their struggles, I've seen their successes. So this is coming from someone with over a decade of experience working with specifically plant-based patients and also being plant-based myself and raising a family on a plant-based diet. And so the first one really is thinking about when you transition to a plant-based diet, some people think, oh, that means I'm just going to be eating salads and veggies and nothing else. And I learned this very early on when I was working with patients. They'd come back to me going, yeah, Dr. Marbus, I tried this plant-based diet and it just ain't working for me. And so I'd start talking to them like, what are you eating? Well, they go, well, I went to the produce section. That makes sense. That's where the plants are hanging out. But what they didn't think about was caloric density. And so what does that mean? That means these are foods that you want to focus in on that have a little bit more calories per serving than some maybe like veggies and some low calorie dense fruits. So what would those foods be? Starchy vegetables, intact whole grains, legumes, lentils, things like that, making that the bulk of your meal. And then adding in the non-starchy vegetables like your salad greens and Brussels sprouts and your broccoli and your cauliflower. And then, of course, some of your fruits. Now, there are some fruits as well that are a little bit more dense, like bananas and things like that. So just keeping that in mind, making sure you're consuming enough calories. And for example, if I have, some of my smaller women, especially my elderly older women, and they're transitioning to a plant-based diet, maybe to help with cholesterol, hypertension, diabetes, things like that. When they are focusing in on these foods, I really need them to pay attention because if they get full so quickly, they don't eat very much at all. And so they have smaller stomachs and they just will not thrive until we really make the conscious effort to be very specific about what I want them to include on their plate. And once they do that, they do very well. And what is also happening is people don't understand because of this caloric density decrease when eating plant foods, you will naturally lose weight. So there's one of the big pros, right? You will lose weight and it may come and go depending on a lot of different factors with different people. But I did want to highlight that. And some of the other concerns that I do want to make sure that people understand is that make sure you're supplementing B12. If there's one supplement that you take, it's B12. And why? Because B12 is made not by animals and not by plants. And it's found in water and soil. So people who are even eating animal products, I've taken care of lots of them too, have also been deficient in B12. So don't be thinking, oh, this is not the very good diet if it's not going to cure all the problems. Okay, this is the reality here. One, we're not living in a world that we used to. We live in a hygienic world, right? We're going to be, drinking water that's filtered and we're washing all the dirt off our veggies, I'm hoping, before we consume them, because we don't want the other things that come with less hygienic circumstances. So it's a very small amount. Most of my patients require 500 to 1,000 micrograms per day. And there's some great brands. Complement's a great brand. Terra Seed's a good brand. But again, those are just a few of the nuances. And if you have other issues outside of that you may need to think about, again, that's where, seeking someone who's experienced in nutrition. It doesn't necessarily have to be a plant-based doctor, but someone who understands the necessities of particular dietary patterns, you may need to speak to them. Okay. I think the next big one is lack of preparation and planning, but this is with any lifestyle change. So without meal planning, people might find themselves kind of without suitable options when they go out to eat or to social circumstances or parties or different things. And that can be really frustrating because you may feel isolated and alone. I really think this is a matter of mindset. So you can choose that it's a problem or it's not. It can be an opportunity or it can be a problem. You can complain about it or you can be imaginative and think about, well, what can I do with this experience to elevate my learning, maybe others around me, maybe it's a potluck, what can I bring? Maybe I need to eat beforehand. Maybe this is a discussion, a time for communication with those that we're going out with, that we can go to a place that we can all consume foods that we feel good about. Because if you had someone who was allergic to some foods, you're not going to tell them, oh, we're not going to pay attention to you. We're not going to help you figure out a good place for us all to eat. It's not, I'm saying that you have to tell people you're allergic to those foods. You could if you wanted. Might not be a bad idea, but I think just the lack of preparation can be a struggle. Now, I will highlight there's something, the solution to this. I have a member of my glucose mastermind group that we met last night, and she has done phenomenal. Blood sugars that were starting at the end of December in the 400s are now averaging in the low 100s. And this is just a matter of 5-6 weeks. And this is someone who's not using medications. This is a strictly dietary changes and moving her body. She traveled and was very stressed about that at first, but then she's like turned to it and said, okay, it's not a problem unless I make it a problem. This is an opportunity. She took her little Instapot, found a hotel with a kitchen, and she went shopping at Costco when they got there, fixed all of her food, brought her food with her, and did fantastic. She was worried she wasn't going to lose weight. She lost 2 more pounds. So again, these are fantastic opportunities. And I have traveled across this country, across the world, and been able to, and I'm talking rural Africa, on a mission trip and eat a plant-based diet. So you can do this. It's just a matter of thinking through the different preparations, and then it becomes second nature. You don't have to fight it. It's not like you have to struggle. If you just walk into this with open arms, knowing that things will be different than you've been in the past, right? Because you're looking to change something, you're looking to feel better, you're looking to improve your health. There's going to be a few perceived obstacles. They're not problems, they're just opportunities, right? So I really want to help clarify that for you. But lack of preparation and meal planning can be one. Next, we kind of hit it a little bit here, was the social isolation, right? And the pressure. Again, I think this is a matter of, this can be a problem or it can be an opportunity. It's an opportunity to potentially reach out to others in your community, reach to people online and connect with them. You might be surprised that maybe there are communities in your own city or town that offer plant-based, potlucks and different things. These could be opportunities to share what you're doing with others by prepping your own meals. And remember, if someone is making a comment about what you're consuming, it has nothing to do with you. It really doesn't. It's just reflecting back to them. Let me share a story. So I have MD after my name. I worked really hard to get to become a doctor, and I don't wear it like a name tag, but sometimes, you feel a little bit pressured, right? So people are like poking at you because they don't necessarily agree with what I'm doing. And I don't know if they feel more powerful by telling a doctor that they're wrong. I don't know. So I try to be conscious of how I'm speaking to people, because I don't ever want to come off that I'm a know-it-all, because I'm certainly not. Lots of learning left to do. But anyway, put that aside. Went out to dinner one time with some folks, and I did my meals. I ordered, I talked to the waiter. It's like, hey, can I get a plant-based this? This is what I choose. And it was fine. The waiter was great. And when the food came, this person who I didn't know very well, she's like, interesting what's on your plate. She goes, why are you eating that? And I said, well, I'm a plant-based doctor, da-da-da-da. She goes, so are you saying what I'm eating isn't healthy? And so I sat there and I'm reflecting upon this conversation. I have two choices. I can accept the fact that someone just kind of did a backstabbing kind of poking at me, or I could just appreciate that this is where she's at in her evolution of thinking. That's where I chose to go. And I was like, no, you can eat whatever you like. I've just chosen to feed my body. And if you'd like to be educated on what I consider healthy foods, I'm happy to do that. And we left it at that. And so I think this really is, you don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to explain your reasons for it to anybody. Don't feel like, you're less of a human just because you've chosen not to eat animal products. You're just eating healthy, colorful, delicious, fiber-rich, nutrient-rich foods, right? So when someone makes a comment to you, again, you just have to laugh and go, it's so interesting what's on my plate and what I've chosen to put in my body is such a struggle for others to deal with. They're not your like there might be a spouse and there might be a little bit more discussion and communication if they're in the home, but if you're out and about, it's fascinating. I just find it entertaining. And if you bring humor into it and say thank you for whatever comment, and I'm doing this for whatever reason, I think you'll find success there. So you're not alone when you feel isolated and struggle. Just keep reaching out. Don't think of it as a problem, but as an opportunity. Life in general gets easier that way when you do it that way. Limited food choices, right? So some people might feel like they're restricted, like they're missing out. I think this, again, is a matter of problem versus opportunity. First of all, there are thousands of plants, thousands upon thousands of plants to choose from, edible plants in this world. There are only a few animal products that we consume regularly, at least in the United States. You have your poultry, you have like turkey, chicken, you have pigs, cows, and fish, right? So, and then you have beef, dairy products, things like that. Again, those are limited. When you look at plants, there's a ton of plants and there's so many recipes. So people get narrowed thinking, right? So this is how I'd say, instead of looking through a keyhole, let's open the door. It's an amazing amount of food that you can be consuming, and it's delicious. And think of it as opportunity to look into different type of ethnic type of foods. If you've ever tried Ethiopian, or if you've never tried Mexican, true Mexican food, maybe it's Indian food, maybe it's Lebanese. I mean, there's just countless amounts of plant-based ethnic food varieties in this world, in this country, get recipes online. So people feel very limited. If you think it's limited, it will be. If you think about, wow, there's all these different plants, and you'll have a plethora. So same food choices, but just different perspective. So throwing that out there for you. Think about this as an opportunity to expand your taste buds, your palate, play around with the recipes in your kitchen. If recipe fails, it's okay. Nobody's judging you. You're not here to save the world. It's just a kitchen. It's just a recipe. You learn something from it. You're like, okay, what did I learn? I learned that I don't need it to be doubling whatever, or add more of this or whatever. There's nobody judging you. It's okay. You don't need to judge yourself. It's just a recipe. It's just one meal. And the light of the world is a very small thing. It's okay, guys. So just giving you that. And then I think the other thing is really unrealistic expectations. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a plant-based doctor. I'm a plant-based human. And I love telling people to eat more plants because of all the amazing health things that you will see here. I just lost you, Instagram. Sorry. The really important thing to understand is, because if you've been a type 2 diabetic, for example, for 2 decades, and you're thinking your blood sugars, you will suddenly have beautiful blood sugars and no longer type 2 diabetes in 24 hours, that's probably an unrealistic expectation. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't reverse your diabetes or dramatically improve not only your diabetes, your hypertension, your cholesterol, your joint pain, losing weight, gut health, the plethora of wonderful, beautiful things. But this comes out of consistency and keeping the diet in realistic expectations. It is not a panacea, but it is the strongest tool that I have in my toolbox to help someone start looking and finding health. And if you want to prevent chronic disease, this is a fantastic way to do it. Again, really having realistic expectations is not going to, be the cure for some very complicated cancer. Now, it doesn't mean that there haven't been those type of cases. But again, at the end of the day, this will allow you to be healthier in all aspects of your life. And it'll make the illnesses or the chronic diseases that you are dealing with less difficult. And so remember, you may not see the cure that you're looking for, but you will certainly see benefit in many, many ways. So I just wanted to really set it out there like that. There might be some cravings for animal products. I think that's another thing. People will tell me, well, I'm just missing dairy and meat and other products. Okay, I appreciate that. The smell of the barbecue, different things like that. But at the end of the day, a craving is just an emotion, guys. It's literally something that comes and it goes. I'm trying to think here. I used to love cheese. I mean, cheese and we were very close. And the thing to remember about this is that over time, they will go away. Like everything in this world, the one thing I tell people you can count on is change. Change is constant. Every single day, every moment, this moment will constantly be changing. And that includes your body, that includes your taste, that includes your relationships, it includes the world, it includes the weather, right? And so when you think about this type of thing in cravings, it's just an emotion. It's a bodily sensation, and it will change. I will tell you, I've been eating this way for so long. I don't even remember. Honestly, I really don't remember what it was like to eat animal products. And the thought of it actually grosses me out. Like I avoid that part of the grocery store because it really grosses me out. And so when people say that, and you may still reminisce about the smell and stuff, but the food it's just a carrier of the taste, right? So most of these foods, if you cook meat or dairy or whatever, I appreciate it's high in salt, it's high in fat. They make a lot of these type of foods, especially cheese and those type of things, to be highly palatable and ultra processed. So they're grabbing hold of you in your taste, and really messing with that caveman brain of yours. It's always looking for something that's delicious because they never know if you're going to eat the next day. Well, we live in the land of plentiful in most of the world. We don't need to be thinking about that anymore. So we need to evolve beyond that, beyond what is available to us everywhere. These are unhealthy foods. But remember, you can always utilize spices and different things to make other things very tasty. And I think the other thing with this is people think that when they switch over to a plant-based diet, that it's going to be a one-for-one. They could do a Beyond Burger. Well, maybe people who use these transitional unhealthy, they're still ultra-processed foods, they might be able to get that same flavor and taste and texture. But I would be very mindful. Please don't do a lot of that. That might be okay during a particular transition time or on the Super Bowl or something like that. I would not eat these foods on a regular, consistent basis. They are still unhealthy, right? So a healthy whole food plant-based diet is not the same as a vegan junk food diet or an ultra-processed plant product diet. And so I would say don't think about you want a plant-based pizza, healthy-based pizza to be the same as, the meat lovers pizza from Pizza Hut. It's just going to be different. Your palate will change over time. You just got to give yourself time and grace and consistency. People might find also difficulty in digesting plant-based foods. There are a lot of fiber, guys. In the United States, on average, people will get around 12 to 15 grams of fiber per day. It's pitiful. And they're including, like French fries as part of the fiber. It blows my mind. Even the RDA, the recommended daily allowance, is only 25 for women, 35 grams for men. We should be doubling that or more. I know I probably get 25 in my breakfast. So thinking about what this is doing to your poor gut, right? If your gut has not been digesting beans and getting a fiber load every single day, start slow and grow, right? So you want to, instead of like the black beans, if you haven't been consuming beans, think about using lentils, right? Small amount of lentils, they're easier to digest, and then keep adding as you go along. So again, you just want to back off a little bit, and with time, your gut microbiome will adjust and you'll be better for it. This is where you start seeing leaky gut improvement, the intestinal permeability improving. You'll start seeing amazing things happen. People will come to me thinking normal to have a bowel movement every 3 or 4 days. That is not normal, guys. Maybe, 2 or 3 a day is normal. Yeah. So again, just throwing that out there. Give your gut some grace. Gut grace. That's an interesting. So take it nice and go slow when you're adding all these fiber meals. Cooking foods is better. Blending foods will be also helpful. The next one I think is lack of knowledge of what we call plant-based cooking. People are really funny. I don't think it's just plant-based cooking. I think people have just forgotten or never taught how to cook in the first place. So if you walk into a kitchen and it seems like a foreign country, take some time. Again, give yourself some grace and start playing around. It's really important that we get the skills back in the kitchen, that we provide these skills and teach them to our children, because when we started handing over our kitchen and our meals to big corporations, we start getting sick. And when you know what's going in your food because you've prepped it at home, that is a valuable knowledge skill to have. So I understand there's time limitations and people struggle with that. But again, this is a choice. You get up every day, you eat every day, you go to work every day. You can make time and find time to heal and feed your body well. It's, again, a choice. You can make it hard or a problem, or you can make it an opportunity. It literally is a mindset. And I know people are like, I've heard you say this over and over again. I don't think people understand just switching that in your head, how you accept it. This is what it is. You've chosen to do this. This is what you're going to need to do. Instead of resisting it and complaining about it, if you just accept this is what it is, life gets easier. Life gets easier. You still get challenges. You'll still get some ripples in your wave, but it gets easier all over. Anyway, people think also as a perceived high cost. When you're buying a whole plant foods and you're going, let's say, even to the dried beans or the intact whole grains, these are some of the cheapest food you can get. Also, if you look at seasonal products, right? Excuse me. So, for example, the sumo oranges are available now. I'm eating them up. So, you don't have to get organic. Is organic great? Absolutely. But if you can only afford the conventional fruits and vegetables, that's okay too. Just wash them appropriately. We can look at the Environmental Working Group. There's a clean, I think it's clean 15 and dirty dozen. You want to maybe try to stick to the clean 15. These are the ones less likely to have pesticide residues that could potentially be harmful if taken in very large assumption or accumulation in your body. Again, we want to avoid that as much as possible and support our organic farmers. Maybe you have a farmer's market or a co-op you can belong to. Lots of opportunities there to fix that was Daisy. And then the last thing I would say is an over-reliance on processed vegan foods. People go straight to the frozen section, junk food, frozen pizzas, Beyond Burgers, Impossible Burgers, whatever. And they think this is a plant-based diet. No, that's a junk food vegan diet. Now, these can be used as a transition, short period of time as possible. But we want to focus in on fruits, veggies, beans, whole grains, nuts, and seeds. That in their whole form, cooked, blended, however you want to do those. And that is a whole food plant-based diet. That's where you're going to see the health benefits. It's not going to be consuming the Impossible Burgers and the Beyond Burgers. Hate to say it for you guys. I appreciate they're tasty. Honestly, well, some people tell me they're tasty. It kind of grosses me out. They're too real. Yeah, the Beyond Burger stuff, it's a little too much for me. But that's just me. I've been doing this for so long, I don't need to go to those type of foods. Now, on occasion, I might have some vegan cheese on a pizza or something, but that's pretty rare in and of itself too. Other than that, yeah, you don't need it. Taste buds change. You feel good eating this way. Just make sure you eat enough calories. You're prepping, and you should be good to go. But you're still like, I don't know what else to do. Well, hang on. I've got a workshop coming at the end of February. Check it out. Just sign up on our email list at drmarbus.com. You'll hear all the information. I am literally doing the deep dive plant-based 101 workshop. It'll be live. You can answer all of your questions. I'm going to be pouring in all my knowledge that I have on helping you transition to a plant-based diet if you've been doing this for a long time and you just have some questions about, hey, am I doing this right? Can help you there too. And also think about joining the Healing Kitchen. It's Brittany, Jarudi, and I. We are meeting weekly live every Wednesday. We provide recipes, and I'm answering medical questions. Plus, we have expert workshops. We've had Dr. Joel Kahn. We've had Brenda Davis. We've had amazing plant-based experts join us. That is free to you. And then I do these free workshops as well. And you have access to all the back recordings, all the ebooks that I produce. And I see patients. So there you go. I'm also going to be offering a psychology of weight loss course soon. Finishing up some videos on that, and I'll be running up my next glucose mastermind. And if you're interested in that, that'll start in March. So lots of cool stuff coming your way. And there you have it, guys. I hope that was helpful. As always, I want to say thank you for spending time with me. It's such a delight to know that I hear from people. So if you feel like this was helpful, please comment below. Be kind in your comments. Some people are interesting. So anyway, I'm sending love, peace, and joy and abundance your way. And as always, have a wonderful, blessed day because you are worth it. All right, guys, have a fantastic time.